This is Wayne from My Tech News, and we have some pretty interesting news here. It looks like Nintendo finally released a Nintendo Direct that practically everyone's been waiting because it's been God knows how long since the last Nintendo Direct. Fun fact, I think it's actually been the longest time in between two Directs, which is actually very interesting, but Nintendo finally released one. Now, the big question is this Nintendo Direct actually good? Well, I'm going to start off and say, in my opinion, I actually think this Nintendo Direct was pretty decent. There's nothing too crazy here, at least for me, that I really want to pull out my wallet and really want to buy for myself. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this Nintendo Direct. Could it have been better? Of course, Nintendo Directs could have always been better, but of course, they have to save information for later in the year, of course. We don't got anything really too crazy in this Nintendo Direct, but let's go ahead and actually pan over to the Nintendo Direct and let's actually look at the Nintendo Direct and actually talk about my thoughts and opinions on the brand new Nintendo Direct. Now, keep in mind, in this Nintendo Direct, Nintendo is actually calling this Nintendo Direct, you can see on the top left part of my screen, it does say the Nintendo Direct Mini because apparently they don't really consider it a true Direct. They're calling it a Direct Mini. I don't know why that is, but that's Nintendo for you. But the first thing that we got from this Nintendo Direct, of course, was information on the upcoming Xenoblade Chronicles port coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, when it comes to this game specifically, there's nothing too crazy about this game. It's pretty much a port of a Wii RPG, of course, a JRPG, and of course they made two versions of this game. They made the Wii version, which was the original version of the game, and then of course they did port this game to the new 3DS. You specifically had to have a new 3DS to play this game because of course this game is a massive game and it's pretty intense on the hardware, so of course it had to be for the new 3DS and the new 2DS XL, so you can play it there. But of course, that's not the optimal way to play this game, since this game is a massive game, and this game is a game that does look fairly good, I would say, so there's really no reason to actually play it on the 3DS in any capacity, since the screen's very small, and you do have kind of like smaller controls at your disposal with that one. But yes, I think this port's going to be a fairly good port for the Nintendo Switch. The nice thing about this game, even though it is pretty much a port and they're not doing anything too crazy to this game, Xenoblade Chronicles, they are going to be giving you some additional content, which is actually nice. So if you played the original, there may be some incentive to actually go back and actually play this game for like the second or third time if you already played this game. And if you haven't played this game, I can safely say that Xenoblade Chronicles, since I've played it, I actually didn't play it on the original Wii. I actually played it on the 3DS port, which wasn't all that great. To be honest, it was pretty much not that comfortable since this game's a massive game. I can say this game is flat out a fantastic game, and I do think now's the right time to actually release this game because so many people that played Shulk in Smash Brothers, you may have not known where he actually came from, but yes, it came from Xenoblade Chronicles. And this game, as you can see, it is coming out in May 29th, 2020, so it's coming out this May, right around the corner in about 2 months, and something's very interesting about that date because it looks like May is going to be very full of game releases according to this Nintendo Direct. So that's very interesting to say the least. And then they do show some additional information about this game. If you go over here, they talk about some of the graphics being better, obviously, since this is the Nintendo Direct. It got more horsepower. And then they do talk about some other stuff you do get if you do decide to buy this game. If I scroll up, you can see they are giving out a vinyl. They're giving out the soundtrack. They're giving out a steelbook for this game. Overall, this looks like a very good package, especially if you are a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles or if you're a fan of JRPGs. You'll be really surprised with that game, and I think that game's going to be worth full price. Is it worth full price if you played that game before in the past? It's really going to be up to you if that game's worth full price or not worth full price if you already play it. But overall, it's still a very fantastic RPG. And now next up, of course, we do have 2K games here, and 2K games really did deliver. I didn't expect them to deliver that much news. Of course, we pretty much already had confirmation a long time ago of a BioShock collection coming to the Nintendo Switch. Of course, this generation already got a BioShock collection, the PS4 and the Xbox One, so it wasn't really too hard to just port it over to the Nintendo Switch, since some games that are on like the PS4 and the Xbox One are getting ported over to the Nintendo Switch. Switch, since Nintendo Switch does have pretty decent power, at least good enough power to get a lot of games that are playing on the Xbox One and the PS4 on the Nintendo Switch. But the big news here is, outside of the BioShock games coming to the Nintendo Switch, we also got confirmation, of course, that Borderlands is now coming to the Nintendo Switch alongside XCOM, which is actually very fantastic. Who would have thought these two games would actually be coming to the Nintendo Switch? Just because we never really had confirmation before that these two games were going to be released on the Nintendo Switch. So it looks like we have XCOM 2. I'm not too sure if this is a collection or not, but at least XCOM 2 is here. And the nice thing about the Borderlands collection, they did already confirm right here when you see it. It is going to be Borderlands the pre-sequel, Borderlands 1, and Borderlands 2, kind of like the Handsome Jack collection on PS4 and Xbox One. However, you are getting Borderlands 1 for free, where I'm pretty sure with that collection, you didn't get Borderlands 1 in the package. You only got Borderlands pre-sequel and Borderlands 2. Of course, it's unfortunate that we are not getting any confirmation of Borderlands 3, but maybe Borderlands 3 is just too much for the Switch hardware to actually handle. Am I going to be picking that game up, Borderlands? Most likely, I'm not going to be picking up Borderlands collection here, just because I've already played Borderlands to death. If you didn't know anything, I am one of the biggest Borderlands fans. I practically played all the games outside of like maybe the pre-sequel and maybe Borderlands 1. I played a little bit of Borderlands 1, but I really got invested with Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3. But either way, it is nice that those games are coming to the Nintendo Switch. The one thing that really makes Borderlands really nice on the Nintendo Switch is, without a doubt, this is going to be the best way to play these games on the go, because you may remember a long time ago when it comes to the PS Vita. The PS Vita actually got a version of Borderlands 2, but Borderlands 2 was heavily gimped on the Nintendo Switch, and a lot of people did not enjoy that. It had bad frame rate, it had bad enemies. Overall, it just really was a very, very gimped version of Borderlands 2, but I guess, of course, the PS Vita doesn't have that much power. But now, since we are getting it here, we should be able to experience Borderlands on the go the way it was meant to be played, so I'm very happy about that. And who would have thought we would have got that much information on Borderlands coming to the Nintendo Switch? And then, of course, right here you can see some information on Marvel. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 4, I think, did get some brand new content. Oh, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, sorry. I forgot we were on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. But either way, you can see we do have some new DLC here. This doesn't really fancy me at all, because I'm not a person who really cares about Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Of course, this game's pretty much like a Doom game, but with superheroes, and honestly, this game is just not my cup of tea, to be honest. But what I can say is, this game looks like it's a fantastic game, and it's nice, I guess, people are getting DLC for this game. What can I say? It's a game that I think people should check out, and if you still own Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, I think there's reasons to go back with this brand new DLC, and I must say, it looks alright. Nothing too crazy, just more content for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, so that is very nice that you have more to play with, and that game is still relevant since it came out last July. And then there's this new game from Capcom. It's kind of like an underwater sea adventure. Forgot the name of this game, but this game looks alright. For me personally, this game looks more like a indie game instead of like a big AAA game, even though it is made by a big AAA developer. Of course, this game is made by Capcom, and I have mixed feelings on this game. On one hand, this game looks alright, but then on the other hand, it kind of looks to me. I don't think this game is really my cup of tea per se, but I think maybe if I tried it, I could potentially get into a game like this. It's basically an underwater sea adventure where you're going around like just killing enemies or killing fish or doing something with the fish and then swimming around the water. I guess maybe one thing I'm not really too keen of, I'm not really too big of a fan of the art style of this game, maybe. It's hard to say if I'm going to like this game. It looks like it is available today, so you can download it right now if you want to download this game into the deep. I do think it's all. And then, of course, we do got more Animal Crossing news. There's nothing too crazy about this Animal Crossing news. It's just pretty much going over the confirmation about Bunny Day, which is pretty much Easter here. And there's nothing amazing about this. They're just saying, oh, look, we'll show you what what Bunny Day is all about if you want to experience bunny. Apparently, some of this stuff that they're showing off in Animal Crossing is already in Animal Crossing, but it's in the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which I never got invested in that game at all, so I know nothing about that game. Literally, all I know is it is another Animal Crossing game for mobile. But yeah, it looks pretty cool if you want to collect eggs, if you want to see the Easter Bunny, if you want to have all these Easter inspired items for your island, which is pretty nice. And then they talk about additional content coming in the near future, and I am glad Nintendo is going to be supporting this for the long haul, and it does make sense. This is a game that can develop over time. You can actually add more updates to the game. You can keep people coming back to the game who maybe even sold the game off and want to replay the game now that there will be more content. And I'm assuming outside of just updating different holidays in the game, they will be updating Animal Crossing with a whole bunch of different stuff like items, new villagers, just new things to do potentially. So that is nice. They are still supporting Animal Crossing. This game right here, I don't know what it's called. Maybe it's called Now Hiring or whatever the case may be. This game right here specifically looks kind of like an indie game, but I'm actually very interested in this game. I think this game is available today. So they did some shadow drops alongside the Nintendo Direct being shadow dropped. I actually think this game is actually a very interesting game, and this is actually personally a game that I would personally play because I think this game's kind of wacky. It's kind of cool. Like, I don't know if this game has multiplayer. I'm assuming it might have multiplayer. Overall, this game just looks like a very fun time. I can get heavily invested in this game. I love the art style of the game. I just love the fact, too, this game's going to be a perfect game for the Nintendo Switch. I'm not too sure what the price of this game is since I literally haven't had a chance to check the Nintendo eShop since there was a couple of things shadow dropped today, which, of course, by now you should be expecting some shadow drops. Oh, it's called Good Job. Okay, I'll probably have to check out Good Job since it looks like it's my cup of tea and it looks very fun to play. And then here's another game. I think it's Catherine something on the Nintendo Switch, and this game I think is based off of another game called Catherine. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this game actually looks all right. It's not really my thing, just because I'm not really too big into a lot of RPGs, but more specifically, I'm not really a big fan of JRPGs, and this doesn't really speak to me at all. It is a little bit wacky. It is a little bit too much anime because, like I said, I'm just really not into these games, but it's great for people who are into anime style games. This game just doesn't do anything for me, but I will say this game does look pretty good and pretty interesting, and this is made by Atlus, which you guys know Atlus makes some of the best RPGs on the market without a doubt. Speaking from me, my personal experience, even though I don't like JRPGs, I did get invested into the Persona series. I played Persona 4 and Persona 5, and they are some amazing games, definitely 10 out of 10 in my eyes. And then who would have thought Nintendo would roll out a big update for Ring Fit Adventure, and Ring Fit Adventure is pretty much turning into a rhythm game right here. You can see they're squeezing it in and out to really do all these different musical notes on screen, and then you can play all these musical tracks in Ring Fit Adventure with Nintendo music right here as it's showing on screen right here. You got Jump Up Superstar, the grand theme from Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon music, and overall it does look like it's something a little bit different. And who would expect this game to actually turn into a rhythm game when it was first originally supposed to be a fitness game? And I think they're adding some other updates to this game as well. I guess Nintendo as a company really understands that this game probably sold pretty well, so they're like, we'll give you a little bit more things to do in the game, we'll update the game, we'll keep it fresh, we'll keep it relevant, we'll keep you coming back. And this is one game, even though I personally haven't bought it, I would be willing to buy it if it was just a little bit more cheaper. And I'm actually surprised this game is as good as it is, and the fact that Nintendo understands that more people than they probably expected bought this game to begin with, so it makes sense that Nintendo would actually want to update this game. But yeah, there's the free update. The updates are ready today. If you own Ring Fit Adventure, go ahead and download it today, which is nice. And then we have some other games. Apparently this was an old PC game, I do believe, which is a tactical RPG. And this is not my thing, but I guess if you ever played this game back on the PC a long-ass time ago, you have something to look forward to. It's just that King's Bounty 2, whatever this game is, just doesn't really interest me because there's a lot of these games I feel like on mobile maybe or on the PC. It's just too similar to, like, it's just pretty much generic if you ask me. But hey, maybe you like the series. I'm not going to knock you if you like the series or if you played this before. It may actually be a good tactical RPG. It's just not for me since there's a lot of them that are so similar and doesn't really do anything for me. But nice on Nintendo for actually putting this on the Nintendo Switch, and of course these games fit the Nintendo Switch's whole aspect too, because it is a tactical RPG, which you guys know if you haven't played one or have played one. They're very slow-paced games and very suitable for the handheld nature of the Switch. And then we got one of the biggest drops in this Nintendo Direct, which I'm pretty sure nobody expected. We did get confirmation that a brand new character for Smash is coming, and of course this one flat out makes sense to the game. We are getting a brand new ARMS character for Super Smash Brothers, and this one in particular has made me very happy. Although I have played ARMS and I can't say it's just a mediocre game in my opinion, I think this does deserve a spot in Super Smash Brothers, and I think everybody's going to be happy. The only thing is, I'm curious to see which fighter from ARMS are they going to put in it. Most likely it should be Springman, since he's the face of ARMS. It does make sense, but any character will do, of course. Personally, my favorite one was always Ribbon Girl, so if you put Ribbon Girl in the game, I'll be happy. Or if you make if you make her an alt skin to Springman, I'll be happy in the game. And then outside of this, of course, they do have a free trial for this game because they're really trying to promote this game since now that Springman is coming to the game. And yes, of course, ARMS is a first-party IP from Nintendo. It's relatively new. It launched pretty much the same year that the Switch came out. I know it doesn't get as much love as other Nintendo properties, but it still deserves a spot in Super Smash Brothers just because, well, a boxing character makes sense for a fighting game. Yes, we have Little Mac, but Springman's going to be a little bit different because he has retractable arms and things like that, so that's going to be very interesting. And then we also got more news on this game. This game is Bravely Default 2, and Bravely Default is absolutely fantastic if you ever played, I think, the original back on the 3DS. I love the art style of the game. I love the mechanics of the game. I actually played the original game, and I actually was liking what I actually played of the original game. And right when this information actually goes off, they're actually going to shadow drop a demo for this game. So if you want to check out Bravely Default 2, you can actually check out Bravely Default 2 right now on the Nintendo eShop as a demo, which is actually nice. I don't know if this game specifically needs a demo, but I guess it makes sense that they would drop a demo for this game just because, well, the first one got a demo, so to follow suit, of course, they are going to release a demo to that game. And yeah, it looks like it's going to be a fairly good game. And overall, I'm actually liking everything I'm seeing with this game. It definitely looks like a good turn-based JRPG. I like this game. I like the different classes. I like the different mechanics of this game. I think this is a very good game. Honestly, I don't know if this is the best turn-based. This is going to be the best turn-based RPG on the Nintendo Switch because we got that other one a couple years ago. I forgot the name of the game, but that one was very unique for what it was as a turn-based. Octopath Traveler. Yeah, Octopath Traveler was a game on the Nintendo Switch, and that one really had a lot of characteristics as well. But I guess if you're looking for a brand new turn-based RPG and you need something to play, you can check out the demo. You can get excited for this game. It's nice that you'll be able to play Bravely Default on a proper home console now, where you can connect it to your TV, which is nice. This game actually looks fairly good. Of course, it looks more like a handheld game more so than a console game, just because everything looks kind of like tiny, but overall it still does look like an amazing game. You have a host of characters, you have just turn-based battles, it is actually a pretty unique game in terms of the actual combat mechanics. He's going to go ahead and explain some of the combat mechanics if you never played Bravely Default, since it's not a hard game to get into, but it does have some different mechanics. It's not just your standard turn-based RPG like so many other turn-based RPGs on the market. You have breakpoints, and then you have all this other stuff. You can see that he's pretty much trying to explain here for the actual game. And let's go ahead and skip up, since it's just more Bravely Default information here. It says it's coming 2020, so we don't have a concrete release date for that game, which is unfortunate. But hey, at least it is coming out this year, and you can still play the demo right now to get excited. And then they not really shadow drop, but they did actually announced this game. I didn't know why I say Shadow Drop, but they announced this game, this Tabletop Games, and I can see this actually being a fairly good game to actually play. I don't know if this game's necessarily for me, since it is games you can play in real life, but it is nice. We are getting a collection of different real life like card games and tabletop games if you're interested in that. I think there's 51 games altogether, and there is some pretty unique games here, and there is a really big variety of games here as well. 51 is a lot of games, and they're not just all tabletop and card games as well. You do got some real life sports like bowling, fishing, and some other stuff like there, like golf. You can see you have darts, air hockey. Yeah, you just have a lot of stuff. Most likely, if you did end up picking this game up, you would have a lot of games to actually play. The only make it or break it thing for this game in particular is going to be the fact that what are they actually going to price this game? The biggest thing for this game is the price point. I feel like this game needs to find the sweet spot for the price, because these are just little, like, this game really does feel like a big collection of mini games, if that makes sense. So it's going to be hard to justify the price if this gets a little bit too high. I don't think this game's honestly worth $60 for sure. I don't even know if it would be worth something like $40. It does actually also include online multiplayer, which I actually wasn't even aware of before. So that is pretty nice. If you are obsessed with all these different games, you'll have people to play with online, which is actually very interesting. It looks like this game is going to be available June 5th, so you do have quite a long wait, a little bit, to actually get this game. You can pre-order today. I don't know who's going to be pre-ordering this game. Now, this game, for the longest time, I actually thought was made by Nintendo, but I'm pretty sure this game is not made by Nintendo. I have to say that right now because, like I said, this game looks like a mixture. It always looked like a mixture of Splatoon, some ARMS, and Mario Odyssey. The Mario Odyssey aspect is because the town that you're in, if you rewind it or you're paying attention, this really does look like a New Donk City to me, at least the town that they were in previously. This game looks like an okay game, but the nice thing about this game was this Ninja game, it is going to be released free to the public. I'm not sure if you're going to need the Nintendo Switch online to play this. I'm assuming no, since it is a free-to-play game, and any free-to-play games that have online are just redeemed as you don't need to pay for the online. This game looks like it could have a lot of depth in the game. It does really remind me, again, a lot of Splatoon and things like that. I'm glad they actually showed this off again, even though I'm a little bit less impressed and a little bit less wanting this game. Just the fact that, well, it doesn't look too good after a while. Just the fact that they showed it again gives me hope. It is available May 27th. And then right here, we do have some more Star Wars games coming to the Switch. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the Star Wars games just because myself, haven't actually played a lot of Star Wars games. I played some Star Wars games, like Star Wars The Force Awakens. No, something on the Xbox 360 and that Jira, Star Wars The Force Unleashed, and then outside of The Force Unleashed, I did play Star Wars Renegade Squadron, I think, on the PSP, and then that's about it for that. But it's nice for Star Wars fans that they are getting more Star Wars love, since we already have like one Star Wars game already on the PSP, and now we have this game. I want to rewind it really quickly. We have let's see here. Let me see here. I'm waiting for the name of the game to actually pop up. Yes, we have Panzer Dragoon, and I always forget the name of this game. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this game was originally a Sega Saturn game, I do believe, and I think this is one of the Sega Saturn games that if you were to buy outright right now, this was always one of the games, for whatever reason, was always price gouged, and it was always an expensive game. I'm not talking just lightly expensive, I'm talking extremely expensive. It was always going for like around $900 or $1,000 US, which, if you don't know anything about American money, that's absolutely expensive and insane, and no one should buy this game for $900 to $1,000. Now it is nice. This game is coming to the Nintendo Switch, and yeah, it's already out today, actually, which is actually very nice. I think the price of this game is $25, which is I'm kind of questioning the price, because it's apparently people said who've already played this game, you can beat this game in an hour, and then on top of that game being able to be beaten in a couple of hours. There's not much content outside of that. Maybe if you played the original, you might want to check this out, or if you're a newcomer, but there's not too much going on here besides I think they're updating the graphics of this game, and practically that's about it for this remake. Not really a remake, more so like a port. I think they're calling it a remake, but they didn't really add anything. If you're unfamiliar with Panzer Dragon, whatever it's called, I keep forgetting the name of it, but basically how the game works is it is a on-rails shooter, and you're pretty much, I think, like a dragon, or you're on a dragon, and you're pretty much just going around shooting stuff like in the sky, and that's pretty much it. So I do think actually $25 or $24, whatever they're actually pricing this, is a little bit too high for that game to be specific, and I don't think that game's actually worth it, to be honest. And then we do got some brand new stuff at the end, of course, the little, like, all these other games that are coming soon to the Nintendo Switch. And yeah, that pretty much wraps up this Nintendo Switch, and you can see all the other games. I'm not really going to talk about all these other Nintendo Switch games, just because there is a lot of other Switch games that are coming. Of course, again, I want to make this clear. I don't think this Nintendo Switch was mind-blowing. Like, I want to pull out my credit card right now, hand Nintendo over some money, and actually play some of these games. But what they got here, I think, is solid, and I think there is a lot of games for a lot of different people. But, of course, they're still waiting for the big reveals here until like around the time E3 comes, or later in the year. Of course, E3 is canceled this year, you guys know that, but I mean, later in the year they're going to be announcing stuff, since we still have pretty much a full year yet, since half the year is not even over yet. So that's very interesting. But yeah, you can see there is still a lot of games coming to the Nintendo Switch. And of course, people still keep asking the question, is the Nintendo Switch worth it in 2020? 100% yes. With Animal Crossing just dropping, with a whole bunch of brand new games in this Direct dropping, with more games dropping this year, what's currently on the Nintendo Switch as of today, there is a lot you can buy on the Nintendo Switch. And yes, the Nintendo Switch is 100% worth it, and I would definitely buy a Nintendo Switch if you already haven't bought one. And that pretty much wraps up this video. Anyway, guys, this is